We'll switch to the in-game scene, we'll get all this stuff sorted out, and we should be all good. Here we go then. Welcome guys to game number 4 between MbL and Robert Stinson, TaToH. This map is Metropolis, and well, this is so hectic. This is just an awesome map, and I'm so glad that we get to see this right here because I love it. And last time I played this, I was just floundering around like a fool, somehow making things happen, but it's just so tough. Like, you have 3 TCs to start, right? And you think, oh yeah, but that's, you know, everybody has 3 TCs when they're in the castle age. Try starting with 3 TCs. That's a whole different story altogether. But yes, up to the north of the map here in the purple, we've got Robert Stinson, aka TaToH. He's playing as the Persians in the purple. And down to the south in the teal, I like these guys because they're staying as the same color, which is fantastic. We've got MbL playing as the Chinese. And so Chinese versus Persians, I think the Chinese have an inherent advantage. I've said this before in the Land Nomad map that we watched the other day with the Chinese versus Persians. But this is going to be great. Like, I want to see how these guys play Metropolis because it's such a difficult map. You see things that you just would never normally see. If it was a standard 1 TC start, you would never see a player go and put 7 villagers on berries if it was a 1 TC start. But obviously, that is what's happening right here. MbL trying to find as much resources, or as many resources as he can, as fast as he can, bringing the boar in. And that's the thing about Metropolis. Not only do you start with 3 TCs, but you also start with 3 times the resources. You start with a total of 6 boar, a total of 3 berry patches, a total of just like, what, 9 gold piles, 9 stone piles. It's just, there's resources everywhere. You can't walk a meter from your TC without bumping into something, and it's great. Abundance of resource means a really high, fast-paced game, and you can see already that Robert Stinson's APM, by the APM counter there, is slightly further ahead, and that's been the case with a lot of these games so far. But I don't think that it means too much. I don't think you have to have a high APM to be a good player, but Robert Stinson seems to have got himself sorted out pretty quickly here, finding those sheep, putting his villagers under there, under the TC to take the sheep, and, you know, getting that first lumber camp up, building up his lumber camps and mills and stuff like that. He looks pretty established already, and getting established quickly is one of the most difficult things to do on Metropolis. Like, getting everything into order. You know, scouting with 3 scouts simultaneously, and then working out which scout belongs to which TC, and then which resources belong to which TC. It takes quite a while. It takes a lot of brain power to do that. And so there is no rest in Metropolis. Now, the one thing that I'm always interested to see is, will anyone go for the water? I know a lot of the time when people play Metropolis, they're so caught up in getting the boar in. Obviously, there's like, you know, 3 times as many boar to lure. They're so caught up in that, and everything just escalates so quickly that players don't tend to bother about the water at all. They don't bother making anything on the water in the slightest. So in the chat there, MbL, like, where am I? That's all he's got to say. He's got no idea. He's just confused, disorientated. That's like the only real way to describe Metropolis. Pure disorientation. MbL here looks like he's gonna lose a villager if he's not careful. Fortunately, the first thing he did was loom. But yeah, gonna bring that villager in. Get inside the TC, dude. There we go. Just bringing that one in safely. And these guys are going to be luring in their boars as fast as possible here. Now, the real interesting thing is the feudal castle times. Obviously, when you're making villagers from 3 TCs at once, your population explodes very quickly. And you'll see that already. Both of them on like 32 population for Robert Stinson and 41 for MbL. He started as the Chinese, which means he gets off to a faster start thanks to having more villagers at every single town center. But up to 43 villagers already, that's insane, and that means that his food income, his all of his resource income is going to be off the wall. And the question is, how long does it take for him now to get up to the castle age, or the feudal age, sorry? Will he delay some villager production in favor of going up to castle, up to feudal, sorry, or will he just keep villagers coming out all day long until he just hits 500 food? Who knows? At the moment, villagers just keep coming out, and with all those boar coming in, He's got plenty of food as well, so he should be clicking up to feudal in a minute on about 50 population. Yes, 50. It's kind of nuts. Now, Robert Stinson here, TaToH, actually going for a dock pretty early on, and I think that's a very clever thing to do for him, simply because, you know, he is going to be slower off to the start here. Now, he has got a score lead, which is surprising, considering that MbL has a lot more units on the map, but getting out a dock here will just boost his production a little bit more. And I think that's really important for him because, like I say, he starts with less villagers than MbL. And MbL just, you know, grows his economy at a much faster rate. So MbL is already up to the feudal age here. He's on, we'll find the TC that it's researching at, 27%. And this is another big thing to take into consideration while he's going up to the feudal age. Normally on a 1TC map, you're just going up to the feudal age. But on Metropolis, you're going up to the feudal age and building villages from 2 more TCs. And your villagers are going to be going idle all over the place. Everything's going to be absolutely crazy all over the place. And it's just so hard to keep track of. Now, one thing I've noticed here is that MbL is not taking a whole lot of gold yet. He's just switching villagers onto gold now in the center TC. And going up to the castle age should be on his agenda once he reaches feudal. At the moment, though, he is lacking a little bit of wood. And this is another thing as well. Like, most players will have a pretty solid build order for every map, pretty much, from a 1TC standpoint. But as soon as you introduce another 2 TCs into the mix, everything just gets thrown out the water. It's just like, what? Nobody knows the build order for a 3TC start. There's no specific thing to bear in mind. But look at this. MbL on the right flank here, he's ready to strike. Once he hits feudal age, these 3 scouts are going to become a feudal aggression force, with +2 attack being added to all 3. That's a total of 6 new attack power, and that's going to bring down some villagers pretty quickly. He walled that off as well, and he's going to potentially find a villager kill here. But no, he's going to get back. TaToH putting that villager to safety. But that was pretty close. And these 3 scouts will now become a good raiding force for him. For TaToH, he has got 2 scouts. He did lose 1 over here to this TC. And he is now keeping them or patrolling them around, but they are a little bit damaged, and still, he's not up to the feudal age yet, so they don't get that attack damage that MbL's scouts have. So MbL off to a fantastic start. He's doing wheelbarrow, he's just done double bit axe, and TaToH meanwhile still only on the way up to the feudal age. He's only at 68%. So MbL with a massive advantage here. His population though isn't quite so far ahead at the moment. So TaToH with these fishing ships in the middle has been catching up, and he's now just 3 population behind, which is really not too bad. TaToH, by the way, MbL, by the way, has not seen that dock yet. So he's got no idea that that dock is in position and boosting TaToH's economy. But MbL here walling up and making sure to wall those flanks, because things do get pretty hairy pretty quickly. And walling up on the flanks is, I think, key to getting ahead in this match up. MbL now then about to click up to the castle age in a second. He's just doing a blacksmith and a stable here, and he's going up to the castle age on 71 pop. Robert Stinson meanwhile doing a stable and a blacksmith, and he will be going up to the castle age in just a minute as well. Obviously, he did spend longer in the dark age, so his economy, once he reaches the feudal age, will have a much larger surplus of resources. And surprisingly, he's taken the lead as well in terms of villagers here. Oh, well, he did just have the lead. They are basically, they've closed the gap. It's 67 villagers for TaToH, 69 for MbL. Castle Age coming in for both of them now. MbL with a small advantage, which is expected, but I think TaToH's closed the gap here. I definitely say he's closed the gap. That is for sure. Or 5 sure, that's how sure I am. God, that's so cheesy. On the water, MbL just adding in a dock now. Maybe he'll find some of these ships to kill. Robert Stinson, TaToH not actually adding in any more units on the water, but if Mr. MbL here, once he reaches the castle age, if he starts adding in some fire ships, that could be pretty devastating on the water, in fact, and that would be pretty damn good. On the left side, some raiding coming in with these scouts once again, and so far TaToH keeping the majority of his villagers nice and safe. So MbL doing scale barding armor and bloodlines at the moment. He's clearly going for some knights once he reaches the castle age, and he will be starting to pump those through the gates on either side. This is where I think TaToH is falling behind. He is slightly slower up to the castle age, but that's not the main deal here. The main deal is that he's not walled his flank routes, and as such, that is going to give TaToH a big disadvantage, because MbL can just go straight through this wall, and TaToH can't stop him, because there's no counter wall. So there's even a gate here. MbL can just go straight through with his knights. And if TaToH wants to go through, well, he's going to have to take the gate down or palisade wall down first. So MbL up to the castle age nice and early. Bloodlines, forging coming in for him. And bloodlines coming in for TaToH right now. Trying to go for knights and camels as well by the looks of things. But knights coming up for MbL straight away. And look at that, he's going to go straight to that wood line there, which is going to be unopposed. There's nothing here, there's no thing here from TaToH that will stop MbL from going through with that knight. And that's going to be a pain in the butt, because he's not walled it up now. He's not going to find it easy to wall it up later, let's put it that way. So on the water, fishing ships coming out for MbL. I'm surprised he's not seen the ships from TaToH, to be honest with you, doing town watch or town patrol. Really, really valuable researchers to have in these situations. So those knights coming through, and MbL's hardly even watching them, because he doesn't even care. He doesn't care. He's got bloodlines, he's got +1 attack and +1 defense. He's going to have a field day killing villagers. And on this left flank, well, TaToH found a way through. What? How did he get through that gap? Was there always a hole there? Where did that wall go? I swear he walled that up. Did he really just leave that wide open? Okay, well that's stupid. MbL then on the left side breached the walls. There's a hole in the wall, as always. And Robert Stinson's going to go through with a mixture of camels and knights. No upgrades though there on the defense at all. But Robert Stinson, you might notice, or you may have noticed, much faster on getting the eco upgrades here. Horse collar, gold mining, wheelbarrow, all done for TaToH at the moment. But I mean, that's not the main focus here. The main focus is the fact that MbL is in his eco, killing his villagers all over the place. He's everywhere at the moment. So MbL adding in a 4 TC on the left side, and that's another interesting thing about this map. When do you add that next town center? Nobody knows. Do you even add another TC? Well, both players are adding in a 4th TC at the very least. I can see that much for sure. And on the right side, TaToH is, well, breached. MbL's got a couple of stables over there, and he's going to be making some knights on this right side. At the moment, not enough gold income for MbL. He has actually got 22 gold miners, but he's spending his gold on knights so quickly that it just isn't lasting. But look at this, he's got stables everywhere. How did he get that villager up there, I'd like to know. But MbL has a villager sneak in the back of TaToH's economy. And we're now going to start seeing knights coming out for MbL at the back here, as well as, of course, on the right side, which has been completely breached once again. So MbL looks like he's in a fantastic position at the moment, and there's action happening absolutely everywhere on the map at the moment. But MbL is clearly getting a lot more villager kills, I would say. I mean, we have a quick look at the KD ratio here. 23 kills for MbL, 20 losses. Perhaps a little further away than I thought. A little bit less of a difference than I thought. But Robert Stinson now coming on the water to take out some of these fishing ships, and he is going to do just that, take out quite a few fishing ships with the fire here. Nothing coming out. Oh wait, no, fire ships coming out for MbL as well, 2 in fact, so maybe he'll win that eventually. But on the right side, God, there's just so much going on. There's just so much going on here. On the right side, MbL with that, well, he's got a massive advantage over on this right side, clearly. He doesn't even have to break through a wall to just access TaToH's economy. TaToH's like, well, come on in, I'll let you have that gate there any day. But I think TaToH not really too worried about walling here, just because he's playing quite aggressively on each flank. You know, he's got a lot of units on each flank, and perhaps not aggressively, I mean more like defensively, because he's making a lot of camels, you might notice. And camels are just the perfect defense unit against this kind of build from MbL. So MbL is going to go in and fight. He has got the upgrade advantage just by +1 attack, but The forging upgrade just completed there for TaToH, so his camels will be able to clean that up pretty easily. We've also got handcart coming in for TaToH now, and bowsaw for MbL, but MbL here should be taking the water control back since he added in those fire ships. And this is the kind of game that even though it's played on normal speed, it feels like it's on fast. That's it's kind of crazy. It really is. On the left side, I'm surprised MbL hasn't patched that wall up yet. Still, I don't know how that wall even has a hole in it, but MbL is going to try and patch it up. But he's not going to succeed because TaToH's in. He's killing a bunch of villagers over here, and things are going to start leveling out pretty quickly as TaToH takes the KD lead. Killed 31, lost 29 so far. And MbL's aggression seems to have kind of petered out a little bit here. He's not got quite so many units in the heart of TaToH's base, and even though he's got pretty good water control in the middle, which is actually pretty damn good, he's just destroyed everything on the water for TaToH here. Even though he's got that, I don't know, MbL just doesn't seem like he made that much of that really early aggression. But it's difficult. It's difficult to do that much when your opponent has TCs everywhere and you know, a lot of arrow fire coming at you. So 140 population for MbL right now at 23 minutes in game. That's quite impressive. Handcart just coming in, horse collar coming in as well, and yet again, this is the third game in a row now where MbL has forgot to do horse collar until way too late. Look how many farms he has, and he doesn't have horse collar yet, which is a big shame for him. Handcart coming in as well now, but I think that with Robert Stinson being 20 population behind at the moment, he might be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle for a while. Unless he can really hit MbL's economy. Now, the real difficulty I feel on this map is focus. Like, you're attacking on both flanks simultaneously. It's really easy to lose focus. Like, you know, it could be worthwhile to put up a siege workshop and try and attack this TC here on the left flank. But the lack of focus there, like, you know, TaToH's kind of focusing on what's going on the water, what's going on the right flank, what's going on with my 6 TCs in my economy. And on the left side now, MbL dropping that castle right outside of that TC, and that's fantastic play by him. He is going to really kill a lot of villagers there if TaToH doesn't notice, and if he does notice, he's at least going to put this TC out of bounds and the gold as well. TaToH now just moving his villagers away. He's seen what's happened, and MbL can now start production of Chuko Nu once that castle is completed, and that's huge because Chuko Nu are just the best unit ever. Well, not quite ever, but they are damn good, and they're going to be fantastic in this game as well. So fletching's being researched here at the blacksmith. That's going to give his castle more range, of course. University going up so he can get ballistics, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Chuko Nu production very soon. On the left side, MbL's also putting up a second castle now, and this is going to be a pretty huge push from him as he clicks up to the Imperial Age, and that's a good time. MbL up to Imperial as TaToH sits on 300 food and 250 gold. He is very far behind in this Imperial time. And MbL now being able to take advantage of the fish in the middle, whereas TaToH is unable to do that. And, well, fire ships coming out for both of them. Both of them want that center control, I guess, that water control. TaToH might just take these fishing ships out, remove that fishing ship advantage. But the Imperial Age upgrade's already on the way. And we got chain barding armor as well for MbL. So we'll see some more knights. Perhaps we'll even see Cavalier once he reaches the next stage. Or, sorry, camels even. What am I on about? We might see heavy camel as the Persians, of course, tend to go into paladins. That's kind of like their go-to unit of choice. And, you know, the Chuko Nus are called the Paladin Shredders for a reason. The knights, sorry, the camels as well for the Chinese are like the second best camels in the game. The Chinese and the Turks, the second best camels in the game, and they will be able to do a lot of damage against these Persian knights. I think the Persian camels are pretty decent as well, but definitely a good build here for MbL. So MbL now very close to the Imperial Age. Husbandry's coming up at the stable. I almost said lumber camp for some reason. What? Heavy plow being done as well to make his farms a little more efficient here. But yeah, obviously going for the heavy camels and for the Chuko Nu. That second castle is up, and the third castle may as well come out in just a second. There it is, just coming up there to the right of this one. And I like what MbL is doing here, dropping castles on both flanks, but because he's put so much pressure on this left side, TaToH has to react over here. He has to, but what's he doing? He's putting up more town centers. He's still not up to the Imperial Age, even though he's got a massive economy here of 133 villages. He's still not been able to click up to Imp yet. He's trying to prevent this castle going up on the right side, but MbL's coming through with those camels, and he should be able to kill those knights pretty easily. That castle there, a sacrifice to the gods as those villagers go down, but it's not a problem. They can hop inside now it's up, and the most important thing there was making sure that castle was completed, and it was. On the left side then, that third castle about up as well, and MbL here, Chuko Nu coming out like crazy. At the blacksmith, nothing's going on just yet, but it will be in a minute. He's actually not got much resources, believe it or not. He's nearly at 200 population at 29 minutes. In a standard game, 29 minutes is a pretty admirable time to be clicking up to the Imperial Age. MbL, however, is at 190 population, and Robert Stinson TaToH is GGing it right there. And that's pretty impressive play from MbL, clearly then. The mass castle drop, the cattle drop strategy on the left flank, very successful. TaToH's lack of walling just enabled this to happen. He was an enabler in this situation. And, well, I know, I feel like just not walling off the flanks is just such a silly thing to neglect. It's so important to get those walls up, and there was no way that TaToH could have easily pushed into this right side. And, of course, there was a hole. And if MbL had blocked that hole, then I doubt TaToH would have even gotten his knights in here to do much damage with. Another thing as well is TaToH's economy. He took quite a few losses in his economy from the knight raiding, but it wasn't massive, it wasn't substantial. Sure, he was 30 population villagers behind at the end of the game there, but he should have been up to Imp before now, I feel. He was really struggling. Maybe he added in too many TCs, and he was just pumping all of that food into villagers, and it was taking too long to get the return on investment so that he could actually click to Imp. Not being up to the Imperial Age when your opponent is, and with your opponent having multiple castles in your economy and a bunch of Chuko Nu on the way out, there's no easy way back from that. And TaToH as well, losing the ward control, that's a big deal at the end game. In the early game, it's not so much a problem, but in the late game, once you can start getting cannon galleons out in the middle, that water control is pretty massive, and that's probably one of the other reasons why MbL managed to get to Imp so soon. He did have quite a lot of fishing ships in the middle here, and that fish boost was certainly boosting his food so that he could click up to Imp. So well played by MbL. I think he was pretty much in control of that game for, well, the duration of it. But like I said, I'm not surprised that the Chinese won that. I do think the Chinese have an advantage in this kind of matchup. And, well, he made good of his advantage. So there you go. 2-2 in this Polaris Best of 9 series. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Game 5 will go, because it's suddenly tied up once again. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to go to game number 5 now in just a second. I'm just going to switch the scene up and update the scoreboard for you.